Yeah, for goodness sakes, I might cop a right house on a lake.
What's up? Welcome to Cohesive Garage. We're going to do some parking lot diagnosis action of a crank no start Honda CRV 1999 variety. So let's see what the first thing we do. We verify. We hop in this piece and we crank. Make sure it cranks. Crank. Not starting. First thing I do. All right, I'm gonna roll up the window so y'all can hear, because you want to do a visual test and then an audio test of when you turn the key on and what happens on the dash here. Check this out. Key on, check engine light on, off, and you hear that audio click. So that's the fuel injection relay or fuel pump relay. And it's very important. Sometimes it'll go on and then it won't go off and you won't hear the click. And that's literally just that relay failing. But I've seen it where that relay will go off, but you won't hear the click. You hear that? And I think the relay is probably under that panel there because I can hear it. Let's get you close over there so you can hear that audio click turning off, so we can confirm that that thing's most likely good. On, click, off. Yeah, and it's a heavy click. You'll definitely notice, but that's the first thing to do in a check. And it's really all 90s Hondas have a fuel injection relay, and it's one of the crank no starts that make these cars legendary. All right, window back down because it's hot as a butthole out here. So second on the list is spark. You need fuel, spark, and compression. So I believe we have fuel just because the main relay is one of the things that'll stop you from getting fuel, and it seems to be working fine. We have compression because, like, when this thing turns over, it shakes, and I can feel the compression. Crank. So let's check spark real quick. So all I do is I pull a spark plug wire, and then I got an old plug that I just plug in there, and then it's got a wire that goes to the ground. I put it to the ground terminal. And then I look and I see if there's actually a physical spark jumping the gap while I crank it. So I put it in a position to where I can see it from underneath the cowling with the hood up. And I think that's going to be an angle that I can see the dangle. So let's go back in and have a look-see. Alright, so I think I got a good view right here. Yeah, there might be some glare, but that's the angle. Nada. I don't see it. Usually you'll see a bright blue spark jumping that gap, but nope. So we've got a no spark situation, and that's going to be 99 to 100% of the time something going on in this distributor. It's got a coil pack and it's got an igniter, and it runs off of the cam here, and it's got a bearing. So the bearing fails in these things, the coils fail in these things, and the igniters fail in these things. So basically what I like to do at this point is even just order one of these right now, because they do sell them and they're not crazy expensive, but mostly because this guy drives this thing all over the place. He's a delivery guy, so he doesn't want any of that stuff failing on him again. This is costing him money not being able to drive this car. So I'm going to probably replace this whole thing. But the next step that you would take to try to determine if it is the igniter or the coil, what I like to do is bust out these node lights. They are basically just LEDs that you can hook up to the injector, the injector wire. Bam, there we go. We can plug him in like so with the one-handed operation. You know, so if this thing lights up, we've probably got a coil that's not working, because if it doesn't light up, then that's probably going to be the igniter. Let's have a look-see. Can you see it? Can you see it? Let's see. Can you see it over there? Let's see. I can see it from here. Oh, we got a light. The light is coming on. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Where is it? looks like my jumper battery is actually low, but I saw the light blink. Did you see the light blink? Am I crazy? Let me know in the comments. So we could just throw in a distributor and get on with our lives, but let's pull off this cap and to see what we're dealing with, because we could potentially just do the coil and see if that doesn't fix it on the cheap. But like I said, we want to make this as good a fix as we can make it. But you know, just for curiosity's sake, let's get in that cap with a 8mm, I believe, and see what's up. So how y'all doing today? Things going good? You busy? You not busy? Either way, I think it's a good life. Just do your thing. So I'm gonna pull this off without taking off the air box, which is very possible for a gentleman like me who I don't know, has done it a million times and doesn't like to do unnecessary stuff. But again, you can pull off the distributor and mess it up if you don't do it right. So it actually is good to take off this air box just to be safe. Alright, let's just fast forward this. Alright, so it doesn't actually look that bad. The cap and rotor were replaced not a terribly long time ago. And the coil doesn't look terrible. But if you look at this, it's just as grimy as the rest of the engine. It's been on there forever. So I'm gonna order a coil and slap it in there and see what happens. I'll also get a distributor on the way, just in case. That's my feeling anyway. Alright, so taking off the distributor rotor here, you gotta orient this so it's facing back, and it's got a screw back there, and it is a monster, actually. A very big monster. So you gotta be super careful with it. I actually have a bunch of different options of things, but I'm gonna start with this and see what happens. Success! These things can really be in there and not want to come out. I've had to drill them out, cut them out. Another reason why I like to replace the distributor. Alright, so this guy looks like he's been there for a long time, and he has dust on him, which sometimes indicates arcing to the distributor, arcing the ground instead of firing to the coil. So if this thing had some misfires in the past, it might have contributed to this. So let me get that part in there. I might just go for the coil if I can disconnect it and take it apart anyway. Okay, so the last thing that I would do if I wasn't just going to replace the distributor would be to put my power probe, which is a wired and switched jumper wires that you can power things on, but I'd put it on the terminals, and I would have somebody crank the engine, and I would also see it switching, which would indicate the igniter's health. And then also I could put that spark plug near the coil to see if it's firing, if I wanted to confirm it. But I feel good about it. I'm gonna get the distributor on its way, try to find the cheapest one I can. Maybe, I don't know what my options are. Let's see. Looks like there's a Delphi one that's not ridiculously expensive. What else do we have? Yeah, Cardone. Yeah, I'm gonna call around, find some other price options for this feller. But in the meantime, thanks for joining me, and hopefully this helped somebody out who's trying to work on a crank no start from the 90s Honda generation. If it did, give me a like, and it's so weird asking for a like, or just a comment of how it worked out for you. Anyway, take care, you guys.